The power of a mastermind. Perhaps you're in a mastermind and you're thinking to yourself, well, is it actually a mastermind or is it just a fancy word that they're using? And if you're not in one, why should you consider joining one? Should you consider joining one? When is the best time for you as a business owner, entrepreneur to join a mastermind? Well, who better to ask and answer these questions and more on all things masterminds than our guest expert here today, Sharon, known as the Queen of Business Development. Yes. Okay. I've been masterminds for a few years now, and I even host my own with my clients in addition to their regular one-on-one advising session, but I know I'm not an expert on it. So in this episode here this evening, Sharon will guide us through why masterminds are the #1 tool every successful entrepreneur should have in the business toolkit. We'll also be going into what a true mastermind actually looks like and why it's essential to be a part of one and how it can help you with growing your business, how you identify which one's the right one, get into all that stuff. But before we get into the power of a mastermind, I know some of you are likely new. So this is Sharon here. This is me. My name's Vanessa Zammy. And welcome to Entrepreneurship is a Marathon. Every Tuesday, we come on here live at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then at some point it gets posted on the on the podcast. But my name is Vanessa Zammy. I'm the business defibrillator. I consult entrepreneurs and business owners on how to revive, grow, and scale their business without burnout, without sleep deprivation, and without overwhelm. And as always, in every episode, the question that we ask, the favorite question to ask is, what's been your win of the week? Because yes, entrepreneurship is a marathon and it can feel like you are failing every day, right? Maybe you're not reaching your goal. Maybe you're like, why am I doing this? But probably you've had a win. Maybe it was someone you met. Maybe it was a collaboration you thought about. Maybe it's just being here this evening and you made it to this episode and you're like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be here and learn about masterminds. But whatever it may be, what has been your win during the past 7 days, right? When we say week, we mean the past 7 days. What has been your win? Type it in the comments. Let's celebrate with you here this evening or this day. If you're watching a replay, I want you to put #replay in the comments. If you are, whether or not you're watching replay or not, remember, type in the comments, what has been your win of the week? So if you're watching on LinkedIn, type in the right. If you're watching on YouTube, scroll to the bottom, hit subscribe button, and then type in the comments, what has been your win of the week? My win has been that I was confirmed. So I've been a professor this far for the past quarter. I was invited again to teach in the spring entrepreneurship at Portland State University School of Business. And then the past 7 days, I was invited to teach again for all of next year, the entire academic year as well. So that's been my win. So I must be doing something right in the classroom. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Appreciate you. Yes, I always love speaking and teaching. And I love that spreading the message of hustle and breathe, even in the young minds. But I also love speaking on stages as well, too. And so hopefully that'll be a win next week. With that being said, though, Sharon, our guest, what has been your win the past 7 days?
My win has been that I am collaborating with other groups to combine our groups to be able to have them like kind of introduce one another to themselves. So it's like for me, it's all about the collaboration. And the other group, her mantra is collaboration is queen. So it's really neat to kind of just look at different ways of getting out there and letting people and building relationships, because I'm all about building relationships.
I love it. I love it. Does that group happen to be a mastermind?
No, it doesn't.
There you go. But yeah, it's awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Collaborations help the business grow and scale,
Yes.
folks. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read off Sharon's bio because you may not be familiar with her, right? And this episode is about her, right? So I'm going to read Sharon's bio and then she will get into it. Y'all, she has slides for you. Like this is what on the podcast, you missed the slides, but you could still hear the great content. Okay, so with that being said, known as the Queen of Business Development, Sharon has spent over 20 years elevating, educating, and empowering female entrepreneurs to find and live their best lives, both personally and professionally. As the founder and CVO, what does CVO stand for, Sharon?
Chief Vision Officer.
Ooh. As the founder and chief vision officer of I'm Possible, Women's Empowerment Collaborative, a community of like-minded female entrepreneurs where female entrepreneurs brainstorm and mastermind their most pressing challenges that they're facing on the entrepreneurial journey. Her zone of genius is to mentor female entrepreneurs by helping them understand the ecology of goal setting and creating alignment in their lives. Sharon has garnered several awards for Influential Women in Business, and top 90 women in business blog and websites for women entrepreneurs, and also influential African American women you should know on LinkedIn. So we are so excited to welcome Sharon here to talk about Power of a Mastermind. Yes, indeed. So Sharon, if you would like to share your screen, by all means, let us know. And I love, I think she may already be starting with this, but let's know, why Masterminds, how Masterminds came about. Or feel free to share your screen as you do that. But yes, why Mastermind? How'd you get involved with Mastermind? I'm curious.
So, and it was part of the present. It was part of the presentation, but I can still say it here as I'm sharing. I just learned that it's. There's a quote that says, "If you have an apple and I have an apple, and we exchange those apples, we still only have an apple. But if I have an idea and you have an idea, and we share those ideas, now we have 3 ideas. We have synergy." So I learned that by sharing, not being afraid to share, not being afraid to let people know what you have and they share what they have, all of a sudden that's where, that's where like companies are born, is from sharing that. So I saw that power, and it was like light bulb moment with figuring that this was definitely something that every entrepreneur, every business needs to have. And most corporations do have it. They just call it something else. It's called brainstorming.
Love it. Am I seeing your slides? Okay, yeah. Share.
Oh, I'm going to share now.
It's
okay.
Okay, so here I'm going to do. Okay.
There we go.
Now I'm going to share. Bam.
Bam, there we have it. And I mean, I was going into a little bit of what was going on with, how that all came to be. And one, it was because I was a serialpreneur. And as I'm standing there, it's like I thought about this today when I was putting this together, and it's like I never would have thought that I would be in the place that I am in today had it not been for all the things that I had done in the past to get me here. And that's what's been really amazing, is just leveraging the knowledge of other people. So it's like, I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit. Back in the day, I was an event planner. That's some of my work there. I've been featured on different radio stations. I've been on television, and it's been really, it's been an amazing ride. But that ride doesn't come without the hard work, and that's what's really important to understand. Is it's Will Smith said it best. He was telling the story about someone came up to him, and sorry to bring up that part, but I'm talking a positive Will Smith. But he said someone came to him and says, "Oh man, I want to be just like you." And he's like, the thing that people don't understand is they're looking at, "I want to be just like you," the good part. But he says, there's a saying in the army that says, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And with that, it's like, okay, the struggle is real in entrepreneurship. I mean, come on, you're called the defibrillator. Like, that is the best name ever, because that's what all businesses need, is a defibrillator. We need something that's going to resuscitate every time we fall into this place of like, oh my God, what do I do next? But as I was doing my entrepreneurial walk, I learned that people always wanted to pick my brain, because as an event planner, they wanted to know, how can I, do this, or how can I get in front of the bride this way, or hey, I'd love to do coffee to talk about, how is it that we can get in front of you, or how is it that we can, how do we pitch to the bride, or it was always wanting to basically pull something out of me. And then I met another young lady named Shar, and she was an event planner as well. And whereas people thought we were going to be, enemies or even frenemies, we actually are best friends. And it got to the point where we would have conversations sometimes weekly, sometimes daily, and we would brainstorm on what was happening in the industry. We would brainstorm on the just the battles that we were coping with, and we helped each other through those, through technically masterminding, but we didn't know that's what we were doing at the time. So I'm very grateful for that experience. Even though we both are kind of out of the business, we kind of helped hold each other up, and that's the beauty of it. But we leveraged each other's just knowledge on moving forward. So, and like I said, my pitch is always that, men do business in the boardroom. women don't have those opportunities. So I wanted to build this for female entrepreneurs where they could have a safe space to be able to brainstorm, strategize, goal set through masterminding. So, yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And so, even one step further, which is the bottom left picture, is I wanted to have a women's empowerment conference and didn't know what I didn't know. I started masterminding to promote the conference. And the last day of the conference, the ladies were like, hey, um, are we still going to mastermind? And that blew my mind because I didn't even know I had a model for it. So that was the start of how this even got, how it got started. But again, it's just, you don't know what you don't know until it happens. So it's like, I didn't know that that's what I was doing the whole time. And when I did learn it, it was just like light bulb. So I want to talk a little bit about this next slide, which, oops, I went the wrong way. Sorry. This next slide, because what happens is we don't realize that according to data from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, about 20% of US businesses fail within the first year, right? So by the end of the fifth year, roughly 50% have faltered, and after 10 years, only a third of them have survived. So when you look at this chart, these are the top 20 reasons why startups fail. And if they don't have the right processes in place, unfortunately, there's no way to get out of that when you don't know. So it's like not everything is, masterminds aren't a cure-all, but they definitely give you a place where you can leverage the knowledge and be able to have like a sounding board when you're going through a particular issue in your business, whether you're trying to 10x your business or whether you have challenges. Masterminds are a great opportunity to leverage the knowledge of others. So, and I mean, depending on the type of mastermind you even go to, there can be coaches in there. There can be people that have worked in a particular environment that it's like just their walk in itself can give you so much information. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if you see so we look at what says the top 3 reasons, you got no market need. Well, that one, I mean, that just means you shouldn't even have that business. Okay, well, the next one, run out of cash, or having the wrong team, or even being out competed, right? And so when you think about it, right, a mastermind could help you gain access to means of funding, right? Whether it be connections to people, right? And then if you have the wrong team, well, the people you're assuming you're in the right mastermind, they might know someone who would be a good team member, right?
Yeah.
And out competed, right? Well, if you're in a mastermind, you're able to stay on top of brilliant minds, trends, other such things of that nature.
Exactly.
So it doesn't solve all the problems, but it can help facilitate you being less at risk.
Exactly. And I mean, we've done that. We've actually talked about, when with all of those where it's like you run out of cash, there's funding out there. And I can promise you, someone is going to know someone that can help you figure out where that funding is. There's always a program somewhere. And I mean, the best time was when we hit COVID. There were so many resources out there. And what was interesting is when we started masterminding virtually, all of a sudden it was just like they didn't know where to go. And it's like there was someone that knew because she was a nonprofit. Now, had we not connected, we wouldn't have known about these opportunities that were actually for profit as well. So it was just it's amazing when you really think about when you become part of a tribe that believes in having your back. It's not a competition. It's all about helping one another because if we hold hands, we can all go together.
Say that again. Yeah. If we hold hands, we can all go together.
We can all go together. Michelle Obama has this amazing quote, and I always say, she says friends, but I say, from a professional standpoint, you need 3, right? There's one person that's ahead of you, that's your mentor. The person on your side, that's your colleague. That's someone that can walk alongside you. And the person that's behind you, your third person, that's someone that's behind you. You want to pull them up. So it becomes a cycle. So you're teaching, if you can teach that, you learn one and you take one, and then you'll always have someone on your side to walk that journey with you. If we all taught that, can you imagine how dynamic that would be? if we really walked that walk.
Wow. Yes. I know we're getting like off topic, a little bit off topic. Well, no,
Yeah,
we're
we
still in the
are.
same
We
topic,
are.
but that's okay.
Yeah, but that's part of masterminding, right? It's like we're
Yeah,
still helping one
togetherness.
another. Yeah, it's like togetherness. So really quick. So I wanted to talk about here, just from a quote standpoint. It's like, according to the article in Inc.com, every business should join a mastermind, and that research studies indicate a group can help develop and operationalize ideas in a quicker fashion than working alone. So mastermind groups, they actually offer an unmatched and invaluable opportunities, and the opportunity to just be able to have someone that you may have a stay-at-home mom that has her own business, and then you may have a coach that is a Dave Ramsey and John Maxwell coach, all in one sitting. And actually, in that picture, that is one of my masterminds, and that was the case. And it was that mom had just as much information to give as the girl that was the Dave Ramsey, John Maxwell coach. So it's like and that's the diversity of perspectives and the different approaches that you get to also experience, as well as just a forum of women, or a forum of individuals, if you are in a mastermind that has both men and women, that where you can leverage the knowledge. And that's the key word. It's leveraging that knowledge of others, because you can't possibly do it all yourself. So it's like you when you go quicker when you go with someone.
That's true. That is true. And I have a question, because now I'm thinking,
Oh,
okay,
sure.
like someone might see this and they might
Mhm.
say, okay, but isn't that kind of like a group coaching program? Like, what makes a mastermind different? Like, what?
Oh, great question. Great question. So, according to Napoleon Hill, and that's the next one that's coming up, thank you for that segue. A mastermind is two or more people actively engaged in the pursuit of definite purpose with a positive mental attitude constitute an unbeatable force. So, that is Napoleon Hill's definition of a mastermind. A lot of times people think that master classes are masterminds, but they really technically aren't. If a mastermind is facilitated, it's technically not a mastermind according to how Napoleon Hill wrote it. So if you look at how he wrote it, it is they come with their issue, and that's what we work around, and it's like 8 minutes or so where we literally hot seat that person. Whereas group coaching, it still is facilitated, and it might be, I mean, a lot of the group coaches that I know, they still are on point with topics. They go through a process. But a mastermind is really all about you show up with what you're struggling with right then and there. And it may not have anything to do with anything. Sorry to say, it's like, and I don't mean like it's irrelevant, but it may not have anything to do with if you were to go to a group coaching program, maybe. Does that make sense? Hello?
Yes, it does. That was on
Oh,
mute.
okay.
It does indeed.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
Fantastic. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, so we're going to talk a little bit. So we've talked about why it is good to be a part of a mastermind and the benefits from it. This is the format. So the format that I use, I don't know about you, and I'd love to even hear if you're willing, if you want to share that, how you run yours. But for mine, it's very simple. Everyone gets hot seated. We get approximately 8 minutes. They have about a minute to share what their struggles are, and then everyone goes around the room just like we're pounding the pavement, so to speak, with coming up with solutions, asking questions, and trying to figure out how we can help them, empower them, implore them to move forward in their business with just giving them great advice. How do you do yours, if you don't mind me asking?
Like that. I like that. We do that part more so like towards like the second half and or the 3/4. So we'll start off
Okay.
with, because this is pretty much a relatively, I started this last fall, this mastermind, and I kept it small, and it's only
Nice.
for certain past clients, but ultimately it's like first like introductions, like what's your business, etc. And then each person kind of is able, and then I do breakout rooms where they can just meet each other one-on-one and network. And then we
Okay.
transition into more of the, okay, what do you need help with? And then people will go around and do that whole brainstorming and helping them out.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice. I like that. So awesome. So some of the things that when you're at a mastermind, I really try to um, let people know when they're going is to be fully present. And these are the pieces now that we're getting into, like, what it looks like, what it looks like to mastermind and how you can maximize it, right? So you want to be fully present. I always say silence your phone. I get life happens, things happen, but there's nothing worse than having, someone that's totally distracted. And because if you are there to gain knowledge, then you should be willing to give. So that is a big one, just to be fully like there for everyone that's there. Be kind and considerate, playful out. It's like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to give advice. There is no bad advice. There is no dumb question. Actually, there is one dumb question, the one not asked. So I always say, if you're not asking the question, that's the dumbest one there, because not the person, the question, because you will never get the answer. And I can promise you someone else is probably wanting to ask the same thing. And as an instructor, I'm sure you said that too yourself. I also say engage in the conversation. Definitely, like, be a part of it, because you're gaining knowledge even if you're giving advice, because it's also helping you. Take great notes, because sometimes someone is going through something that you don't realize. You could potentially have had that as a problem as well. So take the notes, that even though it's not something you maybe came with, you can leave with so much more knowledge. Keep an open mind. I always tell people, it's like, I get that you may have done this, but look at it from another person's perspective. If they give you a way to look at it, but in a different perspective, even if you've tried it, at least keep an open mind. Don't sugarcoat anything. I've had that happen a handful of times, and we definitely have kind of, we've calmed the waters, because coming in brand new, sometimes people are really worried. But the best advice you can give is candid advice, and to be honest, because that's what people need. And when it's noisy, mute yourself, and then confidentiality is always a must. I always say that with masterminds, leave it in the room, because everything that you're sharing needs to be in a safe space. So, and then above that, it's like, seek to give first. There's nothing better than being able to know that you have a giving spirit, and it feels good to give. But and then you want to respect others and yourself. So it's like, well, sometimes people can sometimes have disagreements. That's okay. That's what the world is made up of, that, right? So it's like, it's okay to disagree, to or agree to disagree. Have great boundaries. Know how far you're willing to go out, when it comes to offering advice, or even if it comes to receiving the advice. You just have the boundaries of understanding that I will take that into consideration, is like one of the answers I always say.
Mm. I like that. One of the common themes I'm hearing a lot of say is like, give and receive. Like, a lot of giving, receiving, and being
Yes.
open to receiving, being open to giving, and it's sort of
Yes.
adding to that togetherness and holding hands and going together. And
Yeah, exactly. That's, I mean, that's why it's number one on there, right? It's like, always seek to give first. So be impeccable with your word. If you say you're going to give someone some information, offline or something like that, be true to your word, and be humble and grateful, because at the end of the day, the people that you're sitting with, they're all amazing people. So it's like, I mean, like, right now, I feel so humbly blessed to be in this space right now with you, because I could, you could have been doing something else. You really could have been, but God has blessed me to have you in my life. So it's like, be humble and be very grateful, because you never know the impact that you can make and that they can make on your life. Take imperfect, massive action. That one should be in bold, because a lot of times, being the perfectionist, I put my head down, you get overwhelmed, and then you get, what's the word, stagnant or paralyzed, and then you don't take action. Be okay with it being imperfect. Just do it and take massive action with it. Be accountable for yourself and others. It's like, when I say for others, it's like, the information that you give, help them to understand what it is that you're trying to say, if it's not understood. And you have to give trust to get it. That means you have to speak again, and and be impeccable with your word, and speak with integrity. And then lastly, the question you want to ask yourself is, what do I want to accomplish? Because that's what's really important with the mastermind, is when you go, What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is your ask? And think about what could potentially be standing in your way. You may not know what is standing in your way, but you have an idea what could be standing in your way. So that way you can start to weed out all of the um, woulda, coulda, shouldas kind of things and the self doubt, because sometimes we do have a lot of self doubt talk with ourselves. The reason why we're not accomplishing the things we're accomplishing, so we're afraid to share it. So it's like, what's standing in your way, and share that. Let them know that this is what you're feeling. What do I deem a success, and what will make you feel like you haven't missed the mark? What does that look like to you? Like, if you get what it is that you're looking for, what does it look like, and how do you define it? Like, that you've gotten what you're looking for out of it. And then how could the considered options, like, how could it get you closer to your goal? So if you can think about those questions when you're going into a mastermind, that would really help you to kind of formulate what you're looking for and what you're trying to do. So with that, I say, when you go, you're seeking in every encounter to diagnose. You're planting seeds, right? So you're creating the space to serve, support, and solve. That's what a mastermind is. So with that being said, I always say this at my masterminds when it comes to challenges or current initiatives. Remember that you are the key integral part of the puzzle. You are the one who can pick up the ball, run it into the end zone, but not without your blockers, your tacklers, your linebackers, your linemen, or your wide receivers. So with that being said, that is it.
Beautiful, beautiful, folks. Beautiful, beautiful. Love it, love it. Thank you, Sharon, for joining us. And so, if you didn't already know, so we're paying attention to the screen. So if you're listening on the podcast, you'll see the links at the bottom on how to connect with Sharon. If you were watching the video screen, you may have seen the upcoming events that she had coming up, the Queen of Business Development, yes, and ways to stay in touch with the I'm Possible Women's Empowerment Collaborative. Yes. And also, Sharon is also happy to chat with you one-on-one as well. So you're welcome to reach out. But Sharon, in your own words, what's the best next step? How can people follow up with you and stay in touch?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, we have events every Wednesday. So if you were to go on the website, you can see all of the events that are coming up from Mastermind. So the first Wednesday we Mastermind, the second Wednesday we Speed Network, the third Wednesday we have speakers come in, because I do have resources for women or for business. And then the fourth Wednesday we celebrate. So it's cocktails and celebration. So whether you have a cocktail or a mocktail, come and celebrate yourself. So well, some people don't drink. I respect that. But yeah, I definitely have cocktail in mine. It's not mocktail. But yeah. So
love it.
Yeah.
To each their own. To each their own, but you're all right. Yes. Love, love, love. Well, thank you, Sharon, for joining us here this evening.
Thanks for having
me. Oh, yeah. And I'm grateful that we met as well too. When did we met? Probably a couple months ago, and we're in bed.
Actually, we met. I'm trying to. I think Elaine tried connecting us at one point, but we had already met. We met a while ago.
We did. We did.
Because I was still in Atlanta when I met you.
You were.
Yeah, I was still. So that was like last fall, because I left October 20th.
Wow. Yeah. See that, folks. And here we are today, still connected. Yes. Connected. So far, this is great. It's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us here this evening. And for those who want to follow up with Sharon, feel free to sign up for one of her upcoming events, and or directly chat with her one-on-one. If you are looking to join a mastermind or create a mastermind, or just learn more about how to be most effective as a business person and giving and receiving and all that sort of jazz. With that being said, you are tuned in here to another episode of Entrepreneurship is a Marathon with yours truly, Vanessa Zammy, every Tuesday live, 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And if you haven't already subscribed at the bottom of the YouTube channel. Just scroll down here, subscribe, right button there. And with that being said, have a lovely evening and chat with you again next week. Chat soon. Bye.
Bye.